Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Dr. Mara, and in this video we're going to be talking a lot about how to support your child during a constipation, or better still, a root cause approach to constipation for either your infant or a toddler. Now, I know constipation can be very troubling. It can be very disturbing, but one of the things I want you to understand from this video is that, as always, medications, over-the-counter medications, do not always have to be your first approach. So things like Miralax, if you're here in the United States, should not be the first thing that you are giving your child. Well, if there is anything you would learn from my channel, is to be more root cause centered rather than treatment centered. So rather than just taking away the symptom, oh, my child is constipating, I give you something and you poo immediately. But it's more, rather than just having a symptom approach to illness where I see it happen and I just want to chase it away, to I see it happen and I want to see and I want to understand, where is this coming from, what can I do to ensure that this does not happen again. Okay, so the first thing you would do for your infant or your toddler when there is a constipation is, first of all, hydration. So at this time you want them to take as much fluids as possible, and one of my favorite ways to make sure your child is hydrated apart from water is offering things that makes you get two for the price of one. So hydrating things like decaffeinated herbal teas, so things like chamomile. There are lots of teas that decaffeinated or very good herbal teas that can be used as a source of hydration apart from water. There is bone broth, there is Pedialyte, and not the store-bought Pedialyte, but you can actually make Pedialyte at home. I have a Pedialyte. I share a Pedialyte recipe in my book here, where you can just make Pedialyte at home, and it is so good, so nourishing, because you avoid all the extra sugars, all the added dyes. So I have a homemade Pedialyte in my book that you can make with coconut water, magnesium powder, elderberry, lemon, salt, and honey, or without honey if your child is under one. So, and I just like it because it is nourishing, it is made from real food, and you are skipping all the dyes and all the preservative from the store-bought ones. So Pedialyte is a good one. Electrolyte. So if your child is above one, if your child is a toddler like mine, I give my child electrolyte, but I am very mindful of the kind of electrolyte I use. The one from this brand here called Just Ingredient. I'm gonna link it in the chat. It's amazing. It's made from real foods. Like, one of the things that you would learn is how to buy products that are made from real food ingredients. The moment it becomes complicated and too long, my head begins to ache. So you can offer, there is this probiotic complex that is just like a drink. I give it to my son a lot if I ever find him constipating. So hydration is your first thing. And if you're wondering where I'm getting this recipe from, it's from my book titled Holistic Natural Remedies for Common Childhood Illnesses. It comes with a masterclass that just educates you on natural and holistic approaches to common illnesses. So from this book, you will learn that you do not need to use medications for everything. Yes, you can have them. There are times when they're needed, but in most cases, the body just needs that support. In most cases, the immune system just needs to be strengthened, because the immune system is there to help us fight off illnesses, right? Okay, so number 2 is nutrition, and I'm going to take some time to talk about nutrition. Now, one of the things you would evaluate if you want to follow a root cause approach to constipation is your child's nutrition. Now, if your child is under 6 months and your child is formula feeding, we may want to look at the formula. Maybe it could be that the formula may be too difficult for them to digest. So that is something you may have to evaluate. I have a video, I will link it in the comment, on formulas for both infant and toddlers. So if your child is an infant, be sure to look at the different breakdown of infant formulas I have. I talked about the cow formulas, and I talked about the goat milk formulas. I know the goat milk formulas are more easier on the digestive system, so you may want to evaluate your child's formula. Sometimes it could be the formula, but if you are breastfeeding and nothing more, I know that as at the time I was formula feeding, and as at the time I started breastfeeding only, there are times where my son would go for 3-4 days without pooing, and so long he was wetting his diapers, I did not bother, because he was not he was not showing any sign of discomfort. And my pediatrician also told me that there are times where breastfed babies could take 2-3 days before going to before having a bowel movement. So if you're breastfeeding only, then it could be normal. But however, this is not a medical advice. I would say no matter how holistic or natural minded you are, you still need to speak to your doctor, right? Being naturally minded it doesn't automatically make you a doctor or make you not take medical advice. I have a doctor, I have a pediatrician, I have a doctor, so I always speak to my doctor, even though I try to also educate myself. So you may have to speak to your doctor if your child is breastfeeding and maybe you think they are constipating or they are showing signs. There is no harm in taking them to the doctor to be checked by their pediatrician. But if your child is over 6 months, there are now a couple of things you would want to look at. So if your child is over 6 months and they're already beginning to eat solid food, you may want to evaluate what they are eating. So you may want to look at the nutrition. Some things that I've seen over time that cause constipation for children over 6 months could be, sometimes it could be introducing foods too soon. So it could be that the food your child is eating may not be easy on the digestive system, and that's one of the things I emphasize in my course on Nourish and Flourish Holistic Puree to Finger Foods is the slow introduction of food. Now, the food your child, I see sometimes parents will say, oh, I feed my child like she eats what we eat. And the question I always ask parents, especially those who come for a consult, to say, what are you eating that your child is sharing from? You're an adult here, your child is not an adult, so you must be very mindful of the kind of foods that you feed, right? So you want to make sure you are feeding foods that are easy to digest, and you want to also make sure you're preparing these foods, because sometimes foods that are not properly prepared, let's say for example carrots, are more digestible when they are cooked. So if you notice you're seeing lots of carrots in your child's poop, and you may want to cook them. In fact, at 6 months, most of the fruits your child will be eating has to be slightly cooked for it to be able to digest, because at that time their digestive system cannot process. It's just like you taking a big tuber of sweet potato, right? And you, without cooking it, and you just throw them into a blender, you throw them into a small smoothie blender, or it's going to struggle. Yes, it may end up blending it up, but it may just blow up. It's going to struggle. So one of the things I teach a lot in my course and in my nutrition book is making sure you introduce food slowly. So the foods you introduce should progress, your child's digestive system should guide your introduction of food. So there are foods you introduce between the 6 to the 9 months mark, there are foods you add between the 9 to the 12 months mark, and there are foods that can wait after your child is a toddler. So if your child is constipating, please evaluate nutrition and also check the way you are preparing this food. Like I see sometimes, for example, I would not serve my child grains at 6 months. So things like oats, I would not serve my child oats at 6 months, because those are grains and they are more harder to digest. And if you want to serve some foods, they will require some specific method of preparation, like maybe soaking, sprouting, fermenting, just so that it is easier to digest. Did that make sense? Okay, so another thing also that I wrote here in my book, so just in case you don't know, I also have a nutrition book and a course as well. So when you take the course, it comes with a wonderful book and called Nourish and Flourish, and it just guides you from 6 months to 24 months how to nourish your child, provide tailored nutrition for your child. So another thing you can do to help constipation is offer pea food. So this could be peaches, prunes, pears, and also you can offer foods that are high in healthy fat like avocados, coconut oil, ghee, and they just fatty fish. They would help, loosen up the digestive tract. You can also offer probiotic rich foods. According to Dr. Mayer, one of the holistic family practitioners that I follow, she also talked about giving a probiotic supplement. I do that as well based on her recommendation. So you can offer a probiotic supplement to help during constipation, or a probiotic rich food. I am a food as medicine person, except otherwise. So sometimes offering things like sauerkraut, kimchi, or even coconut yogurt can actually help move the bowel. So also citrus rich foods can also help, like oranges, as we know, can help it relieve constipation. But I would say that in order to prevent future occurrence, you will want to evaluate your child nutrition. You want to make sure you look to see and to ensure that you are not serving foods too early and you are properly preparing this food. So even the sourcing of your food, there's a whole lot to talk about, and in my next couple of videos I'll be talking about food, how to introduce foods to your child at 6 months, and some of the things you should look out for. So if you found this helpful, this is a good time for you to subscribe. I know that this will be very beneficial to you, and please like this video or share this video with any parent who you think that would find this helpful. Please subscribe. I would want you to come back again and watch more informative and educative video. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Feel free to check the description box if you want to see the book, the course, or the links to the products that I have mentioned. Thank you and have a good one. Bye bye.